Okay, I'm going now. Welcome to the...
Sorry. It
I'm
burst
going
out.
Welcome to the special Bracket March Madness edition of Drafted. I am your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my trusty sidekick, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you doing, and what are you drinking tonight, my friend?
I'm doing so good, Dan.
Hell yeah.
I hate to be disappointing, but I have to be
no.
awake in like 6 or 7 hours.
Don't think about that.
So I'm drinking water. I'm just drinking
okay.
water. I've really got to
honestly-
be on my game tomorrow, and I kind of hate that. But yeah.
No, honestly, I will take water over your bourbon on the rocks, which is what you drank for like the last 12 episodes of season 1. So you're actually changing it up. I'm
Okay.
proud of you.
Okay.
I think this is
Yeah.
a win for all of us.
All right,
and
I'll
we
take that
are,
as a signal for next time.
No convoluted message there. I'm just happy for you, and happy that you're soldiering on, despite having to wake up early tomorrow morning. And we are also happy to be joined by none other than Kelsey Hayden, who if you listen to any episodes in season 1, you will be very familiar with. Kelsey, how are you doing tonight, and what are you drinking this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here. And I'm also drinking water because I'm lame.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Late on a Sunday night. I have to work. It's later here. Don't forget.
That is true. I got excited because Preston sent the message for the Zoom link, and Kelsey said, I have to go get a drink. Be right back. I was like, oh, Kelsey's going to actually have a drink this time.
I knew that was misleading.
Yeah. Well, I'm holding it down. I've got a tequila sunrise here. I had tequila sunrise for the first time in over a decade on Friday on my Twitch stream. You should follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/dap_sauce. And it kind of I don't know. I wanted to run it back. So that's what I'm doing. Preston, it's March. So we're not doing a draft. We're doing a bracket.
Yep.
Can you tell us what bracket we're doing tonight?
Well, first, before I do that, if none of us are going to be drinking, except for Dan, and we're not going to do drafts, we're going to do brackets, maybe we should rename the show.
No,
Because that is,
we can't do
those
that.
are the two reasons it's named that. Okay. A
We're
conversation
committed.
for a different time.
We have a new logo coming and everything. We can't change the name
That's
of the show.
true. We're too
Even though the name of the show was stolen by Keegan-Michael Key, and there's another drafted podcast that's wildly more popular than ours, but we had it first, damn it. We will not change.
Just another misstep that guy has made to an utterly failing career.
We will see you in court, Keegan-Michael Key, when we
Absolutely.
have enough financial backing to hire lawyers.
Any day now.
Yeah. Okay, well, tonight...
Follow him on Twitch.
Yes, please. all of my Twitch proceeds will go directly to hiring attorneys so that we can sue the pants off of Keegan-Michael Key.
I like this development. I joined Dan on Twitch the other night, so you can get a little bit of both of us on there occasionally. I had a great time.
Yeah.
It
It'll be fun. There'll be a lot of drafted tie-ins.
Yes. Okay. For this episode, we are doing a bracket, as Daniel alluded to. We are drafting the 16 most viewed Carpool Karaokes.
Ooh.
I feel like Dan and I bonded, I think, very early on in our friendship over our mutual affection of Carpool Karaokes. Back when they were still really young, maybe like 2014, 2015, something like that. I don't really remember, but we used to share them with each other all the time. And when a new one would drop, we'd be texting each other about it.
Yeah, this
Very wholesome.
when we do have a very wholesome friendship, Preston and I have to say.
Yes.
I have to say, the Carpool Karaoke thing blew up pretty early in the Carpool Karaoke game. And this was, I feel like, before everyone, the entire internet world decided and agreed that James Corden was, kind of a massive heel. And I feel like every single person is, on the same page with that now. But I will say, having rewatched several of these in preparation for this draft, I think the Carpool Karaokes still hold up. They're still great, despite knowing
Totally
that James
agree.
Corden kind of sucks.
I don't know anything about James Corden.
Just know that he kind of is, a massive asshole.
Really?
Off-screen.
I saw his show live a few years ago.
Oh,
wow.
The current show? The Late Late Show?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
was
I
he a
went to
huge
the-
asshole?
No, he was so nice. He was so I saw, it was 2018 and I was in California. And I just got a ticket for the taping because I was meeting a few friends who were also in Los Angeles. And so we went to the show and who were the guests that day? It was Allison Janney. It was right
Oh, I
after
love
that
Allison
skating
Janney.
movie.
She's great.
What skating movie?
Yeah, that's awesome.
which skating movie came out a few years ago about the girl who hit the other girl with the knees?
Oh, Tonya Harding.
So it was right after that, and then Joel McHale was the other guy.
I love Joel McHale.
Very cool.
He might be kind of a.
So they were
is he
good
kind of a
guests.
dick too?
He seemed annoying.
Yeah.
See, this you
I
guys
like the
have
Community.
You guys have found the reason I don't watch late night is because I'm too scared to find out which people
That
I
people
like
are
are
bad
actually
people.
assholes.
Yeah, it was
I'm
very
so
interesting to see
petrified.
behind the scenes, though. It was really nice. Like, I mean, obviously, you know that they're like putting a lot of it on, but you know, when you like go in, they like shuffle you around to like put the right kind of groups of people. Like, they need the numbers. They need the front rows, obviously, like the most filled, and they know what the camera sees the most of, so they make sure all of those areas are like full of like enthusiastic people. I did not get put in an enthusiastic section.
That does not
I think they just
surprise
like
me.
got my vibe pretty quick. But like as you're walking in, like James Corden is like chats with you as you're walking in, and he's like, "Hey, hello,
that's
how's
cool.
it going?" Like whatever. So I thought that was kind of nice. And there was like. Yeah, they didn't have any, like, big bits. Like, they had one, it was, like, some sort of basketball episode where we had to go outside to, like, a different part of the studio, and they were, like, playing basketball. I don't really remember the details. There was no, like, it was just, like, some random person that they, like, had already planned to pull from the audience. And anyways, yeah, it was fun.
That's cool.
He seemed, in that hour, he seemed nice.
I'm gonna find this episode and see if I can find you on camera.
I have hunted. I made the side of my face, made it for like half a second.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I think if that happened to me, I would make it my profile picture on every social media platform.
There's a lot going on, so.
Just my nose. You just see my nose. I'm saving it forever. That's cool. Kelsey's going to have a huge leg up. I don't know how that's going to give her a leg up, but somehow it's going to. Yeah, she's met the guy, for crying out loud. Well, I mean, we don't have any questions, do we? Can we get right into it and hash it out?
I guess, how does it work? Like, are we voting against
each
other? Like, is it
we'll
two
vote.
votes move on?
2 votes to advance, yeah.
Yeah, that's the nice part about odd number of people on the show. But before we go on, I want to quickly detail little identifiers that I've pulled out that I think are the 4 ingredients to a good carpool karaoke.
Okay.
So, number 1, James Corden will at some point try and wear his guests' clothes or look at some point in the episode.
That happens a lot.
Yes.
Often.
And almost all of them. Number 2, the celebrity will get recognized and rushed by fans, and James will make a joke about how nobody recognizes him. Another great sign of a good episode.
Okay. I have some thoughts on that one, actually.
Okay.
So we can get to him later. We can get to him later.
Okay. Number 3, a absolutely bombing cover of somebody else's song.
Yes.
Like, when they get really good is when they stop doing the guests' music and they start doing other music.
100% agreed on that.
And the last one, number 4, and this is just like a generally good bit for interviews, when James knows some very, very obscure fact about the person. I don't know if you guys watch Hot Ones.
Oh, yeah. Love Hot Ones.
On YouTube.
Kelsey, you should watch Hot Ones. I feel like you'd like it.
Hot Ones is particularly legendary for knowing things about their guests, like, you know, Paul Rudd and other famous celebrities that nobody else knows. Like, they are purely scared that this person interviewing them has found this out about them. So every time that little element comes in, it gets a lot of cred.
Fun.
So what is your issue with number 2 there, Dan?
So this was like one of the things that I think was ruined for me a little bit, because sometimes like going back and watching now, like knowing that he kind of sucks a little bit, some of those jokes don't feel like jokes. Like particularly the one in the Selena Gomez where he's like he's in the acting
McDonald's.
annoyed that like the McDonald's people are freaking out about Selena Gomez, and like knowing more about James Corden, it's like he maybe isn't really joking about that, and it makes it a little less funny. But we can get that when we get to the Selena Gomez
I'm
episode.
so glad I had no idea. I mean, I don't follow pop culture at all. So
I know there have been like lots of tweets about him.
Interesting.
Yeah,
yes.
about him kind of sucking.
Yeah, interesting.
But you know, like I said, the Carpool Karaoke is still great. So let's get to the first matchup here, and this is the most. I mean, this truly, genuinely breaks my heart. In my opinion, they're the 2 best Carpool Karaokes. We have most watched episode number 1, Adele, and the 16th most watched episode. And I have to say, there's an asterisk with this. We only included 1 Justin Bieber episode. There's like 4 of them, I think, and I think 2 of them are in the top 16. But we didn't want to have 2 Justin Bieber episodes for the sake of variety. So Paul McCartney sneaks in here as the 16th most watched Carpool Karaoke. This is devastating. I think first we should talk about what we like about each one before we actually get to a vote. Are you guys cool with that?
Sure.
Sure.
Preston, why don't you start? Do you have strong thoughts on either of them?
I mean, I think what's going to come up a little bit in this episode, and I'm just going to get it out of the way because every time I bring it up, it makes me sound like I have a massive ego. I promise I'm not this way in real life, but like, I initially got a scholarship to go to school for music vocal performance.
No, Preston is extremely talented.
I am
that is
always
legit.
looking for people who have like natural gifts that are impossible to replicate. There is something so infuriating about watching Adele because it has never once looked like she is trying to be good. She is literally like laying back. She's kind of slumped over a little bit, and she's just kind of waving around,
drinking her morning tea.
It is perfect. Everything is just right on the money, and that's so frustrating to watch. And then the quick thing I'll say about the Paul McCartney one is I'm a big Liverpool fan. I grew up listening to the Beatles a lot. My mom was a huge Beatles person. What they do like historically in that one is kind of like it makes it different than all the other ones. And they end with this big concert in the pub, which is like a concert of Paul McCartney for like, I think it's like 40 people at total in that room. I mean, how incredible is that? So I'm truly devastated by this matchup. I don't like it.
Yeah, I think the two best Carpool Karaoke moments are Adele rapping Nicki Minaj's verse in Monster.
Yes.
And Paul McCartney doing the live concert in the pub in Liverpool. Like, those are the two best Carpool Karaoke moments. And both episodes, like, have so many other gems than just those two moments that are, like, the two best moments. I mean, they're banger after banger, like, in terms of songs and in terms of just, like, pure, wholesome, awesome moments. Kelsey, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so sad that these are matched up. So these are my two favorites as well. And I watched all 16 episodes today in the past 4 hours. So they're fresh.
You binged.
So Adele, her and James Corden's rapport is the best, I think. Like, they're so comfortable. They're like, just like watching them interact is just like fun and funny. And you just like feel like she's so, like, I want to hang out with her so bad after that episode. Like, she seems wonderful. She seems super genuine. And like, her talent is ridiculous. Like, it's
otherworldly.
And then I was the very last one I watched, actually, so I watched it like an hour ago, was Paul McCartney. And I know it's a bit of a hot take, but I don't really care that much about the Beatles. Like, I don't dislike them, but I'm not one of those like, I absolutely love the Beatles people. Like, you know, obviously I know a lot of the songs, but I'm not like, they're not my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
So I didn't have high hopes for this one. And then I was tearing up watching this.
Me too.
I literally was like emotional, and I couldn't get over. I was like, I was taking notes as I was watching, and the only thing I wrote for this one was, this one feels extra special, because it was just like, I love how genuinely excited James Corden is. Like, you can see there's like this moment when they're in the car and he gets really emotional, and it's like he just like dawns on him that like, wow, this isn't like a fever dream. Like, I'm actually like in a car with Paul McCartney and my granddad and I sang these songs, and it's happening. And like, and then he goes to the pub, and like the way people react to him and the way he reacts to people. The other side of this is that I've always specifically disliked Paul McCartney because he doesn't like Newfoundland, and I'm from Newfoundland.
Ooh.
Wow.
So
there's
he went
history
on the news.
Here.
Yeah, he went on the news once and like was really mean about Newfoundland. So
what did he do?
Our premier got in an argument with him live on
Oh my god!
Like, maybe Newfoundland doesn't like Paul McCartney or the Beatles. You know, like Kelsey.
We don't now. So Paul McCartney is very like an animal rights activist, which is totally fine.
And that's why Newfies hate him.
He particularly hates the seal hunt, which is very popular in Newfoundland. And and it's fine if people hate all animal hunts ever. If you're taking that stand, I appreciate it. But he particularly hates the seal hunt for reasons that don't make sense. Because
seals are cute.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's the reason everybody hates the seal hunt, is because they're cute and people say all these lies about the hunt. And anyways, so I work in like fisheries.
Kelsey is a seal hunt truther.
Okay.
I am, even though I don't like seal, but like, you know. Anyways, so
wait, like, what do you mean you don't like? Like, you don't like eating
like
seal?
Eating seal.
What the fuck? People eat seal?
Canada is a weird place.
What the hell? I genuinely did not know that people ate seal.
Okay, hey Dan, you're from Florida, so let's give a little heat check on weird stuff to eat, okay?
Fair enough.
I think both Daniel and I have had fried gator before.
Yeah, gator is just like chicken, though.
Sure.
Still
that
weird.
That is true.
Still weird to look at it and be like, I want to eat that.
Yeah.
I guess my point is that we can get into the intricacies of why people shouldn't hate the seal hunt as much as any other hunt at another time, because I could go on for days. But my point is that the odds were stacked.
Do they still club them?
Yes, and that's the most humane way to kill them. I know that sounds harsh, but if you shot them, they would just swim away and die. They would. I know it sounds insane, but compared to any other hunt, it's the best way to kill them.
Okay, I'm going to defer to the expert here.
There's also probably some like population control concerns, I'm sure, that go into it.
Seals There's 7 million seals.
What?
In Newfoundland. There's 7 million.
No.
There are 500,000 people and 7 million seals.
Oh my god.
Like, it's fine. It's a really sustainable
There's going to be an uprising.
I'm not going to go down that road. This is like too much of an aside. My point is that the odds were stacked against Paul McCartney, and it still ended up being my favorite episode. It was
well, that's a vote. I think
so touching.
Right?
So yeah, I mean, I guess I hate to vote against Adele.
Yeah,
I'm using my hands
it feels so wrong,
doesn't it? But I had to vote for Paul McCartney. It just felt so special.
Yeah, Preston, how about you? I mean, that's one vote for Paul, I think.
Yeah. I'm so torn. But yeah, the Paul McCartney one seems like the first Carpool Karaoke you show to people to prove that all the rest of them can work. Like, I don't know. It seems too good. I really like the Adele rap scene too, but I don't feel like it adds a whole lot beyond just her music, which I like more than Paul McCartney's music, just kind of like across the board. It's just more a part of like my life, but I'm still going with Paul McCartney's one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
he goes to a museum that's built inside of the house he grew up in, and the way that woman reacts when he walks in, just everywhere he goes, it's like a ghost is walking through a place and people are just losing their minds.
It's crazy. And when he walks out and there's like all these people and people are like, oh, like we played your music at my dad's funeral. Like your music has been such a big part of my life. I'm like, that level of like impact on the world is so rare.
Yeah, you watch that and you're like, this guy hates me. And I have to go through my life knowing that he hates who I am and where I come from. I imagine that's hard, Kelsey.
It is, yeah. And even still, he got my vote. So that's how unbiased I am.
Incredible.
That's how much you can trust my opinion.
I will say, Preston kind of touched this, I think, on his like 4 rules of what makes a great episode. Like, usually James Corden, I think, acts as, like an equal to these performers for the most part. And like, even if he's like jokingly, talking about how he's clearly not an equal, he still has like that kind of rapport. But he's like so reverent towards Paul McCartney. Like, he knows he's like sharing the car with a god of music. And I think that kind of adds to the charm too. It's like, it's a really rare circumstance where James is like as big of a fan as the rest of us. And I think that's like kind of adds to the wholesome charm of it. So that's a clean sweep for Paul McCartney. I'm voting Paul as well.
You know what makes me sad is the only other time that I felt the same, like watching one, is Stevie Wonder, and that didn't make the list,
too few views,
which is really unfortunate. But that's the same one where James is like basically just in awe the entire time, and they have a lot of cute moments like that. It feels very similar to this one.
Yeah, I mean that is a toughie, y'all. I mean, like I said, those are my top 2. So I feel like we've already revealed. Yeah, we've already revealed that Paul McCartney's going to win the whole thing. It feels like kind of, but maybe not. There could be an upset of brewing later. What do we want to do? Do we want to stay in the same bracket or hop over to the 2 seed and see what the 2 seed is facing up?
Let's go to the 2. Let's go to the 2.
We'll go to the 2 seed. So the 2 seed is One Direction versus 15 seed Gwen Stefani. Now, this one is a fairly easy one for me, but maybe not the way you think it's going to go. Kelsey, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
So when I was listening to all of them, I took like a few jot notes, like I said, and I kind of like rated the episodes out of 10, or I didn't rank them. I just like gave them a score out of 10, and I tried to kind of make it, relative to each other. And so the One Direction one, I wanted to love. Not that I'm a big like One Direction fan. I mean, they have lots of bangers, obviously, but I realized, first of all, when I first tuned in, I was like, I don't have a clue who anyone else is except Harry Styles.
Yes.
I really thought
I was going to say the same thing.
Recognized.
Wow.
I was like, this
really
is
thought I
Harry
recognized
Styles and
someone
3
else.
extras. It's so ridiculous.
I was like, who are these strangers? Like, there's genuinely 2 of them. The 2 in the back seat with Harry Styles. Like, if they knocked on my door right now, I would think that it was someone, like,
It's Liam and Louis. Or
I didn't have a clue.
Yeah, Liam
the
and
guy
Louis.
in the front.
Wow.
The guy in the front I recognized a little bit, but I thought that Gigi Hadid's baby daddy was in One Direction.
He was, but he dropped out. He left the band before they did the
Interesting.
Carpool Karaoke.
So anyway, that was a bit of a shock to the system that I didn't know anything about One Direction. But besides that, I just thought it was kind of boring. Like, I didn't find it that interesting. I didn't think that they had, like, a good rapport with him, really.
Wow, I feel like completely the opposite here.
Me too.
Interesting. And it's funny because I thought that the Harry Styles episode was completely the opposite. I thought they were, like, bouncing off each other so well. So I found One Direction pretty boring. And not to say that Gwen Stefani was the most interesting thing I've ever watched, and I thought it was a bit of a, like, bit to bring in George Clooney and
I didn't love that.
What's her face?
Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts.
Yep. But I still think I would pick that one over One Direction. I found One Direction pretty boring.
Wow. Well, I don't know how Preston's going to vote, so I'll vote here to give Preston's vote some suspense. I'm going to go One Direction. I actually think this is, like, I am perplexed by not finding the rapport, because I feel like this is some of the best rapport. Like, I feel like James Corden seems like he's genuinely friends with most of the 1D boys, if not all of them. Definitely with Harry, I agree. Like, he and Harry are, like, clearly buddies. But I'll like... There's just a lot of fun bits. I'm actually not a very big One Direction fan. Like, I do like some of their songs, but this is actually one that I find myself going back to quite a bit and rewatching, because there's, like, one of my favorite things is when there's, like, little improv bits that, like, you couldn't actually hear if you went and listened to the real song. And I feel like this Carpool Karaoke has a lot of those moments, which I really love. And the Gwen Stefani one, I had definitely seen it, but I just felt very unmemorable to me. Like, I didn't remember a lot of it. The only thing I'd remembered was that George Clooney and Julia Roberts were, like, kind of shoehorned in there for some reason. And, like, in going back and watching through it, like, I like Gwen Stefani's music catalog so much more than I like One Direction's. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, the vibe wasn't there for me. So this is, like, actually a pretty easy One Direction tilt for my vote.
I'm also going 1D to kill the suspense.
Come on,
and I just want to say real quick, I agree with everything that Daniel said, but one of the best musical moments in any of these is about 3/4 of the way through this. If you want to skim through these kind of as you're listening, do it. They're singing Drag Me Down, which is an old 1D hit, and Harry Styles has this unbelievable screaming belt note. In the backseat.
that is
I was
like
just
one of the best moments.
Flabbergasted. I went back and watched it maybe like 4 times. And I'm like, oh my God. And again, like, what's so weird about this is he's hunched over with a seatbelt on. Do not ask someone to do that. That's not going to work. And still just, flawless. And then what's hilarious is he goes for it again a second time and his voice cracks.
He, like, way overdoes it.
Yeah, everybody in the car laughs at him, which is great and hilarious. But that is
something I took away.
Killer.
I took away from this and Harry Styles' own episode is how good of a singer he is.
Yeah, so I think that's, to me, like, if I was making a set of rules like Preston, when it's, like, affirmed, like, okay. Because, you know, when you hear pop stars, you very, like, in their songs on the radio or whatever, you very rarely, like, truly hear their vocal talents. So, like, one of my favorite things about what makes a great Carpool Karaoke episode is, like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. They can fucking sing, like, and they don't get to show it off in their, like, bullshit generic pop music they make. But goddamn, they are genuinely talented. And so, like, 1D definitely did that for me.
Another one that didn't make this list is Jason Derulo, and he has about a 15-second break where he sings opera because he's a trained opera singer, and that was the moment where I was like, oh, it actually was very disappointing to me. Because he sang opera, I was like, oh, you're really good, and you just kind of choose not to be. Like, you just choose to be worse than you actually are. That is true. Who am I to fault him when he's over there?
Who can blame him for
his
that?
Big-ass house. Yeah, my bad.
I don't know. I take some comfort in it, though. Like these people are extremely talented. It's not all of them. I think we might touch on that later. Okay, let's go to... we just did Harry Styles' band, so let's do the Harry Styles episode. He's the 14 seed against... that Jay Beebs episode, the 3rd most viewed episode of Carpool Karaoke.
So, I was saving this for when Justin Bieber got brought up.
Okay.
In the 8th grade, I was in the same church small group, about 10
As
or 11
Justin
people,
Bieber?
Of Justin Bieber. Yes.
That's a lie.
So
He's
Justin
from
Bieber
Canada.
Justin Bieber grew up going to Buckhead Church for a short period of his life.
Wait, you're not kidding?
I'm not kidding. This
Oh
is
my God,
real.
I was kidding.
Say
No,
it.
he grew up in Canada, but he spent a good amount of time north.
Yeah, because of Usher, right?
Yeah, an area north of Atlanta called Buckhead, which is a very rich part of Atlanta. And I grew up going to Buckhead Church with my parents. And
So you're rich.
he was a year younger than I was, but there were not enough people in his age group there that day, so he joined in with our group, and I got to meet.
What the
Justin Bieber.
fuck?
It was obviously
Was he
before.
like Justin Bieber then?
No, he was in 7th grade. I was in 8th grade.
Well, I mean, he
How
was
have I
very
never
young when
heard
he
of
got
this?
popular.
Yeah, I remember he was like a music guy, and that's what he liked talking about. But he
Wow.
I don't think I said more than like 2 words to him. 2 words might be generous too.
Who
Like,
cares?
If nobody
You're in a
if
church
nobody
group with
grew up
Justin
going to,
Bieber.
like, yeah, if nobody grew up going to like really hipster non-denominational church, you have big group and then you go into small groups. So it was like 8 or 9 of us. And he was in that room with us. And I don't think I ever saw him again. I literally think he got big in the next like 2 months. So
Did he
I think
still-
it was
did he
right
have his swishy hair?
Oh, yeah, the swishy
Yes,
hair.
he did.
Did he
And
have his
actually,
hair? Wow.
what's funny is in 8th grade at that time, I had the exact same hairstyle. And
That's
then
what
when he got big, my hair was almost identical to Justin
Wow.
Bieber's.
So you were right there, right on the doorstep.
Yeah, and I did some work with the group of people at that church for like a very short amount of time. And when you go for the first time, you fill out an interest form, and they have Justin Bieber's interest form like framed in an office somewhere when he was in 7th grade or something like that. So, anyways, that is my strange.
I've been friends with Preston for 6 years, and I've never once heard this story. That's
I know.
crazy. That is crazy.
Very weird.
Well, I feel like Preston's going to be colored with immense bias here in this matchup. I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, what's funny is I say that, and then everybody's like, "Was he just a total asshole?" And I was like, "He was a 7th grader. Like, we
Of
were
course
all
he
total
was.
assholes." Like, it was pretty much par for the course back then. Like, nobody was like super kind and generous when they were in 7th grade. Yeah. So no, it doesn't really color any of my takes in any way.
Wow. Well, I will start this one off. I was surprised by how boring I found the Justin Bieber one. He like barely sings.
Yes,
Like
hard agree.
They start with like
Yes.
Baby, you know, the song that made him like a megastar.
Mm-hmm.
And he barely sings to it, and like he kind of seems bored by the whole thing. And it's
Yes.
weird because like he comes back for 3 more episodes, so he must have enjoyed it. And he seems like one of the guys that like is actually friends with James Corden, like, you know, behind the scenes. So I was kind of like perplexed by how bored I was by the whole thing. Very low energy.
I found
Yeah.
my watching of it super colored by like what we know about Justin Bieber now, which is essentially like back in that time, like when this came out, or maybe a couple years before, these things like his fame is like very torturing for him. So I found watching him do this actually like a little bit uncomfortable, because there were times where it made it seem like he did not like recapping the phases of his career as much as maybe some other people would, because they like harbored some bad stuff for him. So this was like, weirdly, I found it fine and entertaining, whatever. It was one of my least favorites to watch, because
Yeah.
I know a little bit about Justin Bieber just from following his career, and like it seemed sad.
Well, you're
It
buddy-
seemed
you're
very
old buddies
sad
with
for me
him.
to watch.
I
Yeah,
know.
we're pals. We
You guys
text
go way back.
every Saturday, and he's like, one time I had to do Carpool Karaoke and it was terrible, so I hated watching it. Yeah. No, that is
Yeah,
not true.
damn.
But it was still, I did not, wasn't able to really vibe, I think just because of what I know.
I found it pretty boring.
Yeah.
I didn't find he was like very engaging, and like it was like borderline uncomfortable at times.
Yeah, it was
like
weird.
it was strange. I don't know. I don't think he meant to come across as like kind of conceited and like bored by it.
A little
but
aloof, I think, would be.
He
like
did. Yeah, it was very bizarre. It was. I don't know. It just I didn't really enjoy that one. That was one of my least favorites. Which I really expected it to be one of my favorites. Nice Canadian boy. Really was excited for that. But anyways, and then on the flip side, Harry Styles was like in my top few, because I found once I know nothing about One Direction or Harry Styles, but I thought he like seemed really cool. They had a good rapport.
Yeah.
I like realized a few of the songs which I completely didn't recognize. I was like, wow, I have to like look those up. Those actually sound good. And then I also, once again, like we already said, was just like, holy crap, his voice. Like,
Yeah, great.
I it kind of ticked all the boxes for me.
For me,
so my vote's Harry Styles.
For me, it seems like it's gonna be a sweep for Harry Styles. But I just want to say, like, for me, the more memorable moments are not even his singing, but like his rapport. Like when he's going through all the outfits, and like I can hear him say it's a bit nipply in like his Harry Styles English accent, you know.
Yes.
And when he's doing the reenacting of the Titanic love scene as well, those are like two just gold Carpool Karaoke.
And he like
moments.
looks at his shoulder, like.
Yeah. He just seems like a fun dude, doesn't he? Harry Styles.
Does.
He comes across very well in that kind of setting.
I'm also voting for Harry Styles.
Okay.
And what I was kind of hoping for is that this was a recent Carpool Karaoke, which is kind of impossible because I don't think they have done them for a little while.
Can't really be lost in a car right now.
His song that came out last year, I think it's called "Adore You," is probably my favorite pop song of the last year. It's really good.
Wow.
I don't listen to the radio a lot, so it's pretty rare that I get like a pop song thrown at me, but oh my god, that one is just it's so good.
Okay, well that was an easy one. Harry Styles sweeps through the next round. This one will be very tough for me personally, and I think probably only for me personally. And that is 4-seed Sia versus 13-seed BTS. And I think the only person who would even consider voting for BTS here, I would like to make my case. I'd heard maybe one BTS song, maybe, before watching the BTS Carpool Karaoke. And I think like I watched it last year. Like I had not watched Carpool Karaoke in a long time. And it was like in my suggested videos or something. And I was like, you know what? I'll check out this BTS band that is like the hottest band in the world right now. And I fell in love with them. Like I don't think there's a single Carpool Karaoke that does a better job of like showcasing the personalities of the artists. I feel like it becomes very clear how you can have like a favorite person in a K-pop band, because I immediately fell in love with like two of them, and I wanted to be best friends with them. They have that super fun scene at the end where they go to James Corden's like dance workout studio, which I really enjoyed, and they do two American. They do like a Post Malone song and the Cardi B and Bruno Mars song. Which I'm blanking on the name of, and they do a great job. And there's like moments where like that one guy just belts out the bit in the Bruno Mars song, and it's incredible. It's like one of my favorite little bits. Like I prefer their version of that song, Finesse. I prefer that version of Finesse to the original. So I also love the Sia one. It would be in my both of these would be in my final four personally. So I'm not ready to vote yet, but I just want to stump for the BTS Carpool Karaoke because I do think it's like one of the best ones.
Very interesting. So, yeah, I didn't know who BTS was until today.
Wow.
So out of touch.
The fact that you said biggest band in the world, I'm shook right now. I literally had no idea who these people were. I like turned it on and I was like, oh my god, it's a van. And I was like, who are all of these people?
Are all of them BTS? Which one B? Which one T?
Yeah. It was so... Considering I didn't know them, and so they're not going to get my vote because I couldn't fully enjoy it because I didn't know who they were. But I guess, then again, you did seem to enjoy it when you didn't know. But I did take a note and I said, it seemed like this would be very fun if I knew them.
Yeah, fair.
Like, I still enjoyed it. Like, I did think it was cool that, like, the guy was talking about how he learned English through friends.
Yeah.
And then, like, I thought it was cool, like, when they were talking about how they, like, lived together and, like, that side of it. I don't know if I agree that I thought it really showed like the personalities of everyone, but I did think it was interesting. Like, and I thought it was like a cool, I'm glad that they like include groups that are not just like North American based, or like, you know, very obviously in like North American pop culture, I guess, but I suppose they're apparently very big and I didn't know that.
They're massive.
But I did find it entertaining, but you know, I couldn't enjoy it that much because none of it really meant anything to me. Sia, I don't like Sia's music very much.
Wow.
Either. I'm not a pop music fan. So this is
wow.
Why did we bring you on as our guest
for this
crazy.
show?
I know. I warned you. But this is the thing is like I'm not coming in with like any biases of people I love. I'm just like watching the episodes, so that's good, I guess.
We also picked you to come draft American Candy last time. So
I know, it's crazy.
What are
you
we doing?
I got free Canadian candy out of that, so it was well worth it.
You did?
I did.
Yeah, I sent him candy. I can send you candy.
Please. What the hell? I am on my best day. I am at the very least half of this show. So,
That's true. Well, Kelsey and I are friends off of the show, you know.
We go way back.
What the? Oh my god, this is terrible. Sorry. I hate this.
I shouldn't have mentioned
Anyways,
it.
I thought Sia was pretty interesting. I thought better singer than I realized. And then also, I just kind of thought it was interesting because I've always kind of like rolled my eyes at the whole like wig. Like, I'm just like not a big bit kind of person. And I knew it was because she was trying to conceal her identity a bit, which I completely respect because it sucks that if you become really famous, your life just isn't your own anymore. I don't know. I thought she seemed really genuine and really like, I thought she was kind of interesting conversation. So my vote's for Sia.
And she did the thing with the eggs in her hands.
Yes.
That's
and then I thought it was funny that
gimmicks.
she dropped, and you can clearly hear one of them crack.
Yes. Yeah. And I think she starts like cussing. I had to bleep her out a bunch.
Yes. Yeah.
I have no allegiances here. I'm
surprised by
Sia's music.
I would think you would love Sia, to be honest with you. I'm surprised you don't. I know you like Pink a lot, and I feel like they're kind of like
I do
a little similar.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something. So here's my thing. I listen to a lot of like covers of stuff and like reimaginings of things just because I get bored on YouTube sometimes. I've never heard a Sia song that I haven't liked better done by somebody else.
Wow.
You know? And that's not the case with a bunch of other people on this list. So, but again, I like her music and I think she's wickedly talented. I know one BTS song thanks to my fiance. I don't know much more beyond that. I knew before watching this they were one of the biggest things in the world right now. But I'm kind of with Daniel. That was a much more like personality engaging thing. And I remember more about that one than I do the Sia one. And I watched them around the same time. So I just like, with no allegiances, I just have more fun watching the BTS one. So I'm going to push them all through. Also, I just love the idea that America kind of gave up on boy bands a little bit, or like ensembles, and like East Asia is like, we got this. Like, don't worry about it. We're gonna launch. Like,
we're doing it better than ever before
right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so BTS is my vote.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
And Kelsey, you voted for Sia, correct?
Yeah, but this is not one of those hills I'm gonna die on.
No, well, this is tough for me because. Like
you were trying to avoid have to decide.
Yeah, in my ideal scenario, you both vote for Sia, and then I get to give a pity vote for BTS, like to avoid the sweep. But now I actually have to decide. Like I said, I mean, these are two of like the best ones for me. Like Sia's like when she does "Shine Bright Like a Diamond," I fucking hate that song, done by Rihanna, and she kills it. Like I fucking love listening to her sing "Diamond." It is like her voice does stuff that other people can't do. Like even like the best singers
things to it, yeah.
So this is very tough for me because I think musically Sia's I much prefer, but personality wise I think I prefer BTS's. Like which do I weigh here? I think I have to vote for a clean conscience. I think I have to vote for Sia because I feel like Sia's is more intrinsic to like the Carpool Karaoke experience. Like if I was telling people these are the Carpool Karaokes you have to watch, and I have to cut it off at like 4 or something. Well, maybe not 4 because I think I include both of them at 4. But like, I think I list Sia's before BTS's, and I don't know why, but I think that like I have to go with that gut feeling. So this is the hardest one for me so far. Maybe even more difficult than the Paul McCartney one because I do feel like I clearly feel like the Paul McCartney one is my favorite, and these two are both like in my top 4. But it's hard for me to choose. But I'm going to put Sia through to the second round, kind of like what I feel like is an obligation almost. So I don't feel good about it. We go to a very interesting next one here. And the winner of this one will face Sia in the second round. And that is 5-seed Bruno Mars versus 12-seed Billie Eilish.
This one hurts for me personally. This is a really rough one. These are two of my favorite, probably not like Carpool Karaoke's, but like people in pop music or in the top like 0.1% of fame right now. These are like two of the people that I would like to pick out. And it's kind of a bummer. I really don't know which way I'm going to go, so I kind of want to hear cases from each of you first.
Okay, Kelsey, why don't you start?
So this is not difficult for me at all. I watched Bruno Mars today, and I watched Billie Eilish whenever it came out, like a year or two ago. I don't know when hers came out. and I still remember more from Billie Eilish's.
Yeah.
I didn't. Bruno Mars, like, I've always thought he seems like a fun and, like, optimistic, positive kind of guy. He has lots of good tunes, for sure, that, like, I've never sought out to listen to his music, but somehow I know the words to a lot of his songs.
That's
Magic.
fair, very fair.
Like, you know, like, and they're good. Like, it's, you know, they're, like, it's fun music and stuff, and it wasn't horrible in any way, but I thought Billie Eilish was super interesting because, A, she's so young, but she's, like, so, like, poised and, like,
yeah, she's
I don't
cool.
know. She's cool. Yeah, she's, like, inherently cool. That's what it is. It's, like, and she's, like, cool for, like, the kids these days. Like, she's, like the now cool.
Somehow both at the same time, I feel like.
Yes.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm a little
crazy.
out of touch with the
Universally
kids these
cool.
days, and Billie Eilish has the potential to bridge me back and let these generations unite.
Yeah, it just shows that some people are just, like, born with this coolness. And
Yeah.
I suspected it for a long time, and this is, like, confirmation. Because, like, you look at, I'm like, what is happening here? And I remember the first time learning about Billie Eilish and being like, who the hell is this William Eyelash person? But, like, yeah, she's just cool. And then I really liked how they, like, go to her house and, like, talk about, like, how, I don't know. I just thought it put her in a really good light, and it was a really interesting interview. And I remember lots of it, even though I watched it a while ago. So my vote is quite easy for Billie.
Yeah, so this is how I feel about it. I do like the Bruno Mars one. I think it is one that's, like, integral to the Carpool Karaoke lore. And I feel like it's very colored for me based on expectations. So, like, the Bruno Mars Carpool Karaoke is exactly what you expect it to be. It's Bruno Mars, like, singing all of his biggest songs that you love and know, even though you don't, like, go out of your way to listen to them ever. And he's cool as fuck, and he's in, like, his, like, full silk, like, I don't even know what you'd call it. His full silk t-shirt and shorts.
His
And
get-ups,
being a cool, talented dude. And Billie Eilish, I had never really listened to her music before her Carpool Karaoke, and now I listen to her music because of her Carpool Karaoke. Like Ocean Eyes, I fucking love that song, and I'd never heard it before that Carpool Karaoke, and I was like, damn, she's not like this popular girl that, like, the kids like. She's fucking awesome. She makes great music. So yeah, this one's actually kind of easy for me too, even though, like, I do think Bruno Mars, like, deserves a lot of respect, and I think for a lot of audiences, he would probably be voted through. Like, if it were more than just the three of us voting, I think he would probably edge Billie Eilish here. But my vote has to be Billie Eilish here, I think.
I'm thinking back now to, I was in the car with my fiance and we heard Bad Guy come on the radio for the first time, and we, like, I think we had already heard about Billie Eilish, but we hated it. And we were both so quick to, like, jump on and just start hating it because it seemed like an easy thing to hate. And what it reminded me of, or what I initially, like, registered it in the same filing cabinet in my brain was Look What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift.
Oh,
which is
I
like
do
a
hate
bit,
that song.
Which is like a bit, right? Like no, nobody's buying that. No, whatever. And this kind of felt the same to me. And then you listen to everything else on that album and you're like, oh, no, okay, this makes sense now. Like, okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. But I hated Billie Eilish for like 5 or 6 months because I thought it was cool to not like the new thing. I feel deep sense of shame for that. So I'm going to vote for Billie Eilish and give her the
clean
sweep.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, though, because I do remember the first time hearing her and then finding out she was 17, and I was like, I hate these lyrics coming out of 17-year-old's mouth.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so uncomfortable.
It was the worst. Yeah.
And her brother produces a lot, like, all of her music and helps her write it, too.
Yeah,
which makes it a little
was all, like, very bizarre,
well.
but then when you... Yeah, you, like, get to know her a bit more through, like, interviews, and you're like, wait a minute, like, this girl's legit.
Yeah.
Like, more legit than most, I would say.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, she's cool as hell. Okay, so Billie Eilish sweeps Bruno Mars. I am a little surprised by that. But, I mean, I voted for Billie, so I'm not shocked, I guess. Okay, we hop over to the other side of the bracket now. We have 6 seed Selena Gomez versus Lady Gaga 11. Who has strong thoughts here?
I mean, Lady Gaga is one of those people that the first time you hear her sing away from her music, right? Like, away from the fully produced track, you're like, oh, okay, there's like actual talent behind like the 17 filters that go into it. If you watch the Howard Stern performance she gives of Edge of Glory, it is again frustrating to me in the same way of like, why don't you just do that?
Well,
Like,
she does now.
Do
She
the
has, like,
stripped
some
down
the-
kind of
her
stuff.
newer
Yes,
stuff. Yeah.
she does. So that's where I end up leaning, I think, on this one.
So you do or don't like the Lady Gaga one?
I love the Lady Gaga one.
Okay.
I find it frustrating in a good way.
That was
is what
really
I meant.
not clear.
Okay,
The Selena Gomez one I find to be the least memorable of, I think, like any of these in the
Second least memorable for me.
I'm not really on board with the Selena Gomez stuff. I don't know. Not for me.
Of the 16, like there were some that I took notes on that I was like either ones that I thought would be like a close vote or ones that I wasn't super, like I didn't remember super well before reviewing them. And my one note for Selena was like, not a good singer, ? Doesn't it kind of sound like she doesn't sing very well in the Carpool Karaoke? I mean, it might be hard to like flash remember, but like
she also doesn't sing a lot in it.
No. And like it's one of the few where like I feel like you hear James singing more. And I feel like usually that would annoy me, but to me I kind of is like, oh, he's helping her because she doesn't actually like have the pipes. That's kind of how I
think
felt.
It's a limited range. Like, I think you're used to in all these other ones, everybody's busting out these crazy runs that don't exist in their song because they're probably like bored singing their own music, and it's really cool. She has a very tight like register where like which in effect, the more music she writes and comes out with, it makes it sound more the same.
Samey. Yeah.
Yeah, it all starts to blend together because she doesn't seem to have an ability to like go somewhere different.
She doesn't bring anything new musically. There's like no new music experience for Selena Gomez songs. And she has some songs that I like. I mean, I think her catalog is like clearly greatly inferior to Lady Gaga's, but probably like the most inferior of anyone on this list, I would say, except for Michelle Obama, who does not have a musical catalog. But she just doesn't have. Like, there are some cute moments, like when they go through the McDonald's drive-thru, like, and they get the cup with her lyrics on it. Like, that's kind of cute. But, like, there's not nearly enough there for me to, like, make up for the fact that she is just, like, worlds below Lady Gaga in terms of musical talent. So, like, this is an easy Lady Gaga pick for me as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the Lady Gaga songs,
on either of them.
all the Lady Gaga songs I don't like are still better than the Selena songs I do like.
That's probably true. Like, objectively probably true.
This one I don't feel is very close.
And I will say, I don't necessarily love the Lady Gaga one. Like, I don't dislike it by any means. Like, if I was just picking my 8 best, neither of these would be in the next round. But
that's how I feel.
Yeah, but I think Gaga blows Gomez out of the water here. Like, Gomez does not belong as the 6th most viewed.
No, and this comes down to, like, there was a time, I don't know if it's still true, but there was a long period of time where Selena Gomez was the most followed person on Instagram. I feel like Kardashian has probably, like, overtaken that now, maybe, I don't know. But, like, Selena Gomez has an absurd number of fans. Like, it's very interesting, actually, because I've never found her to be, like, anything to phone home about, but she, like, her episode was just kind of, like, cute and enjoyable, I guess, but it wasn't
that's
like,
a way
it
to
didn't really like impact me.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I was a little disappointed in Lady Gaga's because I feel like there's such potential with Lady Gaga, but I also feel like if she did a Carpool Karaoke like now, she's already had so many more experiences than even when she did it then.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Lady Gaga could be, like, a super interesting interview and Carpool episode. And so I actually was a little bit disappointed. Like, I didn't find hers amazing because I think I just expected more because she is so insane.
I think Corden holds it back. Like, I think it's very clear that they don't have a great rapport. Not necessarily that he does a bad job, but, like he's clearly friends with some of these people, and when they are at shows, and it can bring them to another level. And it feels more like Gaga is like holding back a little bit. Like, she doesn't really trust this guy to like create something really special with him, which I think is kind of disappointing. Like, I think if she did the same kind of thing with someone who she really connected with, it would be much better.
I think pretty universally, like, the episodes I like the most are the ones where you can tell that they really are like enjoying the drive like the process, and neither of these were like super impactful to me, but I do think Lady Gaga was better than Selena Gomez.
I feel like we're in lockstep on that, Kelsey. So J Beebs and Gomez knocked out in the same quadrant of the bracket, so they can maybe rekindle their like, they can't. Justin Bieber's married, isn't he? Never mind.
Yeah.
Let's hope not. Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to 7 versus 10 here. We have J-Lo versus Ariana Grande. This one I'm very interested to see what your takes are on them, because my takes for both of them are pretty lukewarm.
That's exactly where I'm at, and I thought I was gonna get so like torn apart for having that take. J-Lo has good music, and like I can sit here and recognize that without having to like fully partake in it. like she's clearly an icon, but not one that I super like register with all the time, which is fine because I don't think it's for me. Like, look at me. J-Lo doesn't write music for me. Like, she does it for other people, and that's fine. Like, so it's just not really my cup of tea. Same with Ariana. Ariana Grande has always kind of weirded me out. So
yeah,
she
kind of like not there's something about her that rubs me the wrong way too. I'm totally with you on that. Even though there are some of her songs I really like, but yeah, her whole like vibe.
Yeah, I mean, neither of them were like my top favorites, but there were pieces I liked of each of them. I did enjoy, like, I like Ariana Grande, like, I'm not, once again, like, I'm not like a big fan, but her voice is crazy, and her range from that tiny little body is insane. Mm-hmm. Like, she's just so small, and she has such a big voice, and that always has blown my mind. And like, you can hear like moments where her voice is really incredible. J-Lo, I think J-Lo seems like a really cool human. And I think that comes across in this episode really well. So what I found is that when I was watching, while neither of them were like the best thing I've ever seen, when I watched J-Lo, I was really like enjoying watching their banter, and like when they're like, I don't know, she just seemed like she knows she's super famous, and that's like kind of like almost funny, and like, I don't know, I just thought she was like pretty enjoyable to watch, and I thought it was more fun, and I just like wanted to be at a bar after I watched that one, because I was like, wow, that was like some good music, and I thought it was more fun. So I vote J-Lo easily over Ariana Grande, but I wouldn't necessarily vote J-Lo over a lot of these.
Okay, there are two things I want to bring up before I give my vote. One, Big Booty is, I think, easily the worst song of any of these Carpool Karaoke videos. It is a fucking awful song. I don't know why they included it, because J-Lo does have good music. Like, none of it's my favorite. I like never got out of my way to listen to J-Lo, but that song fucking sucks. Why did they pick that song? I don't, like, you can't give me an answer because there is not one. Other than that, it's like her most recent hit with big air quotes around it, because she doesn't really make much music anymore. But here's a more pressing question. Do you guys believe that J-Lo did not insure her butt? Because James Corden asks her about it. Yes. I do not. And I would, if you had asked me without watching that video, do you think J-Lo insured her ass? I would say no. That's a ridiculous thing. But like, my lie detector sensors were buzzing as she was like trying to act shocked by the question. I was like, yeah, oh, she's 100% giving away the fact that she 100% insured her ass back in the day. It probably is not insured anymore, but that's how I felt about it. No, I don't judge her for that. All the power to her in the world. Like, she was famous for her butt. She was known as having the best butt in the entire world for a time. I would insure it too.
It's clearly a valuable asset.
Nice.
Asset.
We're going to let that one sit out there. But no, I think, like, to hedge my bet a little bit, she probably, like, called somebody to figure out if it was possible. They leaked it, and then she ended up not going through with it. That's what I think happened. And that's how the
thing is, I think the thing that makes me think she's lying is that I'm pretty sure you can insure body parts in the United States, because athletes do it all the time. Oh, like, athletes insure their legs and pitching arms and shit.
But she acknowledges, like, she's like, yeah, it would make sense for, like, a piano player. Like, she says
but she's like, why does her excuse saying, like, you can't do it in the United States? I mean, that's a lie. That is not true. So why also lie about that?
J-Lo plays her butt a lot like a pianist plays a piano. So
yeah, she has a song called Big Booty.
For underselling that similarity. Like, it is a very valuable asset to her career.
Nice.
She is a virtuoso in butts. I mean, as a side note, one thing that I just kept every time I see J-Lo do anything ever.
You think about her butt, her insured butt?
I think about her whole body. I'm like, oh my God, you're so hot.
Yeah, she's like 50 something, right?
I know. I'm like, if I could have one thing in this life, it's to age like J-Lo. And that would require me becoming astronomically hotter and then staying that way for the next 20 years. But
hey, you never know. It could happen, Kelsey. It could happen. With all that said, my vote is actually for Ariana Grande here. I just think like Ariana Grande, I really don't like her vibe. Some of her songs I really like, but she just has some fucking pipes, man. Like, she can fucking sing. And her like Celine Dion impression is incredible, and she busts that out in this episode. So I just think, like, across the board, I found her, even though I find her pretty annoying and I don't find JLo annoying, I just found myself enjoying the actual music of the Carpool Karaoke far more than Ariana Grande's. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? So that's Ariana Grande gets my vote over JLo. So Preston has to split here.
JLo.
Ooh,
There's
okay.
The moment where they and this could be fake, but I'm just gonna suspend disbelief here and pretend it's real. Where they scroll through her phone and they text Leonardo DiCaprio that she's ready to get crunk tonight or something.
I bet that's real.
It's very good.
It's real.
It's very good. And he signs it JLo parentheses from the block close parentheses. It's very good. So that's what puts it over the top.
I really like I always find it very interesting when you get a little insight into, like, the super famous. Like, they all know each other, and they're all, like, really, like, they're in the same circles. And I always find that, like, you get, like, little tastes of that sometimes where you see these, like, combinations of people, and you're like, what, they're friends? Or, like, they know each other? But, like, when you reach, like, a level of fame, at least in America, like, or North America, like, it's a small circle, and you see bits of that in this episode, and I just find that so interesting.
Yeah, that part is cool. I'll give you that. Okay, now our final matchup of the first round. We have 8-seed Ed Sheeran versus 9-seed Michelle Obama. And this is obviously a weird one. Michelle Obama is not a musical artist like these others, but she has, for good reason, a very popular episode. So we wanted to include her here. What do you guys think?
Preston, you can go first.
Okay. I'm very I feel like I'm missing something on Ed Sheeran. I feel like I'm not getting it. I like him. I think he's just fine. But, like, his whole thing is, like, they plucked him out of playing small shows or playing in the subway or something, and now he's this huge star, right? I don't get that from his music. Like, there are other people who have that story and still write really good stuff, and that's why they're there. So I think I almost look at Ed Sheeran and I was like, why you? Like, what made people pick you? But he's fine. Like, I don't think it's as bad as some of the other people we've mentioned, but I have a particular place in my heart for Michelle Obama, so it was never going to be anybody else, I think. so I'm putting that one through.
I actually do too. I love Michelle for a lot of reasons. I'm still picking Ed Sheeran. Like, the Ed Sheeran one is one of my favorites. I think it's like, we talk about what makes a great one is, like, when he sings other people's songs. He does that for two, and it's a lot of fun. And every single, like, he plays his guitar, so he makes every single song he sings different. Like, you get it, the Ed Sheeran experience you get in his Carpool Karaoke, you will not get by listening to any of his songs in another format. I also think it's, like, I really, really like that last song he does, the I'm on my way.
Castle on the Hill?
Yeah, that one. I fucking love that song. And it's true. They say it's a great driving song. It is. So yeah, I like the Michelle Obama one made me wanting Missy Elliott more. Kind of like the Katy Perry Super Bowl halftime show. Where it's like, obviously it was very different. Like, Michelle Obama, like, the cause was great. She was doing it to raise awareness for a very important cause. But now you kind of just want to Missy Elliott. Or, like, have Missy Elliott in the whole thing. You know, like, when she only did, like, 1.5 songs, basically. And I thought it was kind of
The reveal of Missy Elliott, though, is very good.
It is good.
She just like apparates out of nowhere. No, I think it's so cool.
I think it's so cool.
You're kind of getting distracted. It's near the end of the video. You're getting bored, and you're like, "Wait, there's a third person in the car now." They don't announce it. They don't pull over. It just, like, apparates into existence. It's really good.
It is pretty funny. Okay, so I'm the tiebreaker then.
Yeah, you got to break a tie. We've each broken a tie now.
So I'm actually really torn. When I gave them ratings out of 10, I gave them the same rating. I gave them 7.5.
Oh.
So I'm really torn. I love Michelle Obama. Like, just what a human.
Yeah,
like,
really.
I got, honestly, like,
we don't
what could you
deserve
say
her.
About her? Like,
yeah.
Honest, like, yeah, and we've had to deal with so much worse for so long now. But I love Michelle Obama, so it's very hard for me to think of not voting for her. But I think I found the Ed Sheeran episode maybe a little more entertaining. I thought they had pretty good chemistry, and I thought, like...
Very good chemistry.
I actually do sometimes listen to Ed Sheeran, which is not something I really was looking to admit to the internet, but...
no one listens to the show, it's fine.
He has some bangers.
He does.
He really does. Like, Castle on the Hill, it's like, how can you not, like...
Yeah.
Love that. So it's with a heavy heart that I'm going to vote for Ed Sheeran.
Honestly, I think that's the right choice. Like, the Michelle Obama one is great, but like if you're going for like pure musical experience that you can't get anywhere else, I think you have to go for Sheeran. So that brings us to the end of a first round, and I feel like we should take a break because that was kind of long. So we're going to take a quick breather, and we'll be right back for the second round. Okay, we are back with the Elite Eight here. Let's go ahead and start with the highest remaining seed, which is... not the highest remaining seed. This is actually the lowest remaining seed, but comes from the 1 seed spot. And a massive upset that has only happened once in the history of the NCAA March Madness tournament, at least on the men's side. I'm not sure of the history of the women's side, but I'm going to assume
I don't think it's ever happened on the women's side either. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure.
Because like the women's side is even less, less parity in women's side. But anywho, we have 16 seed Paul McCartney versus 8 seed Ed Sheeran. This one feels extremely easy for me. I feel like we've all talked about how the Paul McCartney one is our favorite. We're going to try to forget that next round, but for now we can remember it, and it's a clean sweep for Paul McCartney, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the Cinderella story we've all been waiting.
Okay, well,
I'm not convinced it's my favorite yet, but it is going to go through for sure this round.
There's reason to keep listening, folks. It might not be Preston's favorite.
Yes.
I mean, like we've gone over what makes both episodes great. So Paul McCartney easily through, and we've paid our respect to Ed Sheeran. So I think that's fine. Let's hop down now to the matchup that Paul McCartney will face in the Final Four, and that is Sia versus Billie Eilish. Now, this one is very interesting to me. Does anyone have any thoughts?
It's not very close for me.
I don't think it's very close for me either.
Okay, well, let's hear both of you vote. Not at the same time.
Oh, dang it. I was going to try and sync it up. That's okay. Kelsey, you go first.
So I think it's definitely Billie. I thought it was... I've talked about this before. Like, I watched this like a year ago, and I remember like the whole episode. I just think Billie Eilish is the coolest, and this episode did it great. And I think Sia's very cool, like cooler than I was giving her credit for. But I don't think it's a competition here.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed on all fronts.
I vote for Sia. Sia is like one of the first Carpool Karaokes that I like truly loved. But I'm outvoted here. So Billie Eilish goes through 2-1.
Mm-hmm. Talk about an age gap for this next matchup.
Yeah, no kidding. Surely the oldest and the youngest of our bracket when we started. Okay, we now have 2 seed One Direction versus 7 seed J-Lo, and I feel like the way we all talked about the J-Lo matchup that this one will be easy, but maybe not. I mean, the One Direction one is one of my favorite ones, so it's an easy One Direction vote for me here.
The One Direction one is not one of my favorites just because I'm like Kelsey, I don't know the other 3 people. I don't
That's
know
crazy
them.
to me.
And to be honest...
You guys don't have One Direction mania?
Not really.
It's Harry and Strangers.
Harry and Extras, yes. To be honest, only in the last couple of years did I actually even know who Harry Styles was. I saw Harry Styles in Dunkirk, the Christopher Nolan war movie, had no idea who he was. Had to look him up on IMDb. I was like, who is this weird extra they got to play this kind of minor speaking part?
Actually, can we talk about that? This is like totally irrelevant to this bracket. But one of the things that ruins Dunkirk for me is that Harry fucking Styles is in it. And like all I can see is like, why is Harry Styles in this movie? So like
it is very bizarre.
I wish I could have seen it without knowing who Harry Styles was. That seems impossible to me that you would not have known it to be him.
I went into it with the eyes of a babe. I did not know who Harry Styles was. Who, by the way, Harry Styles, he's got the eyes of a babe. Am I right?
Boy.
But yes, One Direction for me.
Okay, Kelsey, do you have a pity vote for J-Lo?
Yeah, I mean, I've already said I thought One Direction was hideously boring. So,
that's right. Jeez, I can't believe we're so like. I feel like we've agreed on most things, but we're so off on that.
Yeah, I just didn't find it that entertaining. Maybe I expected more. Maybe I thought I knew the band, and it turns out I don't.
Maybe you didn't stare into the eyes of Harry Styles enough.
But it's not like I'm in this weird position where once again I'm defending J-Lo, and I don't really want to do that. But,
well, you won't have to anymore because she's been eliminated.
Exactly, she's gone. So.
Okay. Next, we have Harry Styles, once again, who, if you did not know, was in the film Dunkirk, the Christopher Nolan war film. And he is facing He is facing Lady Gaga.
So this isn't close for me.
This is like two that I wish were not in this round for me.
Oh, I'm glad that one of these made it to the top 4.
I'm guessing it's Harry Styles.
Yes, I thought his episode was so good. I thought it was like watching two friends, and I just really, really liked that.
I mean, they very clearly are two
pipes,
friends, I will say.
Yeah, I just thought it was great. I really, really enjoyed it.
Preston?
Yeah, I think I'm on Harry Styles.
I'd say
they're both pretty good, but yes, the Harry Styles one gets to push through for me.
Yeah, the chemistry makes it. And like I said, like the Harry Styles one would not be in my personal top 8, I don't think, let alone top 4. But just a very weak bracket for Harry Styles. So he pops through to the final 4. And now I think it might get interesting here. Maybe not. But we have Paul McCartney versus Billie Eilish. And I feel like
very
Kelsey,
strange.
I think Kelsey has, I think, had the nicest things to say about Billie Eilish. So I'm curious to see if that holds true here with this matchup.
I have nothing but nice things to say about Billie Eilish, but out of all these episodes, Paul McCartney almost made me cry.
Only almost, huh?
Watching...
Yeah, I was going to say, it did make me cry.
Yeah, I 100% cried.
Yeah, no, I didn't fully cry. But watching James Corden, like, witness what was happening and watching the people react in the pub to be like, this is literally... Like, you couldn't pay enough money to have this experience, and it's just given to them.
It's incredible.
And when Paul is, like, reflecting about, like, this is where I live, this is where John and I, like, wrote these songs, I think that's, like that could just be, like, a mini documentary. So I have to vote for Paul easily in this round.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I'm probably the same. I mean, this feels like a good Final Four matchup to me, though, because both of these are really good.
Billie is very good.
Paul, I will put through, though.
Yeah, to me, I think this one deserves a little bit of time touching on because, like I said, I mean, the Billie Eilish one made me a Billie Eilish fan. Like, I knew very little about her, and I kind of had the eye-rolly thing, too. Like Kelsey said, like, when you learn you're 17, it's like, wait, what? What the hell? Like, oh, the 17-year-old is making all these massive pop songs. And then, like...
seduce your dad type, that line, I was like, I want to die.
Yeah, it is a little uncomfortable when you really think about it. But she's just fucking awesome. She's really fucking awesome. But, like, that isn't enough to, like... I fucking love the Beatles. If I could only listen to one band for the rest of my life, it would be the Beatles. And it's not necessarily to say like they're my favorite band of all time. I mean, they're certainly up there, but like there's just so much variety in the music, and like their music means so much to me because I grew up listening to it. Like the Beatles' one album, like changed my life. Like of all their number one hits, and it's like it's pure magic and love, and like it's just so special, that episode. Like you see the woman crying at the bar. And, like, I don't know how they aren't crying. That they're seeing Paul fucking McCartney play at this tiny little pub right in front of them. Like, it's unbelievable. It's truly surreal. And I think the coolest and, like, best thing that Carpool Karaoke has ever done. And it's a crying shame that is only the 16th most viewed episode. If you've not seen the Paul McCartney one, please do it. Because it did not deserve to have to face Adele in the first round. Adele deserved far better than a first-round elimination.
Like I said, the odds couldn't have been stacked higher against Paul McCartney here for me. And it really... I just enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It's magic. Okay, let's find out who Paul's going to face in likely beat by a clean sweep in the final. And this is like breaking physics and reality here. We have One Direction versus Harry Styles. What? Harry Styles is in both. How do you pick a winner here?
How do you pick a winner?
It's easy.
One is Harry Styles being like a magical human, and then one is Harry Styles with 3 random humans stuck in the car with him.
Exactly.
I will say,
this is Harry versus Harry. Like it's
the One Direction video is mathematically 25% as good as the Harry Styles video.
Literally,
like there's just no way around it.
I will say, I think you guys are being pretty unfair to the other members of One Direction. They all have their moments in that video.
What's amazing about this is, like, I have a lot of One Direction songs that I like, and I used to, like, kind of behind closed doors with buddies jam to in college. But There is nothing that they sang on Harry Styles' one, I think, unless I'm misremembering something, that I had heard before. Like, nothing. Like, a lot of his solo stuff had no clue, except for that one song I mentioned that came out after he filmed this Carpool Karaoke. And still, it's so good. And that's what these things are, like, supposed to be for, is, like, us to introduce ourselves to the people a little bit. So, it's definitely this one. It's not very close.
Okay, well, I'm going to give a meaningless vote of abstention. Or not abstention. What's the thing? What's the thing you vote when, like, the losing side of the Supreme Court? They're on the side of the opposition? Dissent, yes. I'm not giving a vote of dissent to One Direction.
The dissenting opinion coming
the
from
dissenting opinion.
I
will write a thesis on why One Direction is better, and I will release it for the subscribers, the Patreon subscribers. Okay, so that sets up Harry Styles, another young versus old matchup here in the final. Harry Styles versus Paul. Is there any argument for Harry here? I feel like Kelsey would be the person to make it. I think she's the one that is, like, most in love with Harry Styles of the three of us.
Which is funny because, like, until today, once again, like, I'm not a Harry Styles, like, because I think there's, like, a pretty big, like, cult following for him. People are really into Harry Styles.
Mm-hmm. Oh, massively.
I don't think this is close, but one thing I think that's interesting about this matchup is that Paul McCartney is, like, everything about, like, old school in the sense, like, he's, like, a founder of a whole, like, generation of music. Like, I don't even know how to describe Paul McCartney. He's a music god. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's some trajectory that Harry Styles could be on where he is big for a very long career. Like, I think he has the potential. Like, he's still very much like a pop star right now. But I think that he seems like the type of person, in the very little that I've seen of him, that he could have a very long and substantial career if he, like, continues to kind of, like, mold and change and, like, I don't know. Anyways, I just thought it was kind of interesting. It's, like, very much, like, new kind of, like, One Direction and, like, very, like, 2000s, like, new recent stuff is Harry Styles. Like, he's the guy right now versus, like, an institution. And in my case, I think the institution wins, bar none, but...
I totally buy this argument. I think Harry Styles does not appear like somebody to be, like, satisfied just making the same stuff as everybody else. Mm-hmm. And he wants to just kind of, like, mess around with different things and just kind of push it around. And that gives off, like, a, like, David Bowie kind of vibe where they're, like, they're going to put out something for, like, maybe 10% of the population and be totally cool with it. I see the potential there. For now, he's just like a hyper attractive guy who makes really, like, happy, joyful bops, and I'm very on board with that. So, but yes, it's Paul McCartney. That episode does not belong in this category. I mean, it's a documentary, and, like, especially for me, like, having the cultural impact of the Beatles, but Paul McCartney, you sometimes forget that he's still, like, around, because, like, he doesn't seem, at least I guess to me, he doesn't seem like he's, like, constantly around, like, doing stuff. There was that one time he did that collab. He did that collab with, like, Rihanna and
Kanye West.
Kanye?
Yeah.
4 or 5 seconds? Yeah.
Wow, that's weird.
Besides that, he doesn't appear to be just, like, around, so this seems like a very rare little moment you get.
A little taste.
And that seems very special. Yeah, whereas everybody else is going around to promote something, right? And Paul McCartney, I think, when he did this, he had new music out, but, like, did not feel the same.
No, I agree with that.
So that's an interesting thought. Like, if we remove... Because it does feel different from all the other ones, doesn't it? Like, there's clearly a lot more to it than just singing in the car. Because I feel like... I don't know if it's the majority of the episode, but probably the majority of the episode is him not in the car.
At least half, yeah.
So what is... I mean, you can pick any of the other episodes in this bracket. Which episode wins if you take out Paul McCartney?
Adele.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah,
I think it is Adele. Adele is my
Billie
number 2.
Eilish,
I think.
probably Adele. There's also something, even if they hadn't left the car, there's something interesting, and they really should do this with all the other ones when they can. They drove around to spaces that he knows. They literally go by a church, and he's like, I sang in choir at that church.
Yeah, they drive on Penny Lane.
Yeah, my brother got married in that church. And they go to all these, like, very personally relevant places, and the rest, they're, like, literally the joke is they're driving James Corden from his house to his work. So, like, they don't get to do that kind of stuff.
Now,
that was very
speaking
cool.
Speaking of that, so I decided to read the Wikipedia page for Carpool Karaoke today, and then that led me down several articles, and I really went down a rabbit hole of like understanding Carpool Karaoke. And I did learn some interesting things relevant to like how they drive and actually do the show. Because sometimes I wondered, like the first time I ever saw Carpool Karaoke, I was like, well, they can't actually be driving. But I was like, it really looks like they're actually driving. Like, it really seems like they are. But that seems bizarre and a risk. So I finally figured out. So what they do is they actually don't ever go in carpool lanes. They always go on like really easy routes through quiet areas of Los Angeles generally. Like once in a while they'll go through a street that's a bit busier, but generally they go on easy routes. And he drives about 20 miles per hour. And there's 2 cars in front and 3 cars behind that make sure that like no traffic is like interacting with him basically. So if you notice, actually, I started, when you watch 16 in a row, you really start to notice things. And there's like a tall truck that's like, or like it's like a van type thing. But anyways, you can always see that kind of in the back, in the rear view window. But that's how they do it, is that they kind of manage it so he's always going slow. But then there's 5 episodes where he actually is being towed.
Yeah.
And people thought, like some fan like took a picture of it one time and was like, I'm going to blow this up. Like,
yeah, it went super
Karaoke
viral
is,
on
like,
Twitter.
Exactly. And because it looked like there was like little skateboards under each like wheel, basically, like each tire, because obviously they couldn't be like fully towed. And they were being tugged. But it was because in those episodes they had like really distracting or like dense things where it wouldn't have been safe to drive. And so that was Meghan Trainor, Migos, Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, and one of the Justin Bieber episodes. I don't know which one. And so so they tow in those ones, and so, or at least for part of them. But every other one he is actually driving.
There you go. A little bit of Carpool Karaoke from James Corden's best friend. A little trivia there.
One other fact. One of the things that the artists, a lot of them don't like, and why probably some of them seem uncomfortable, is they never rehearse, and they're in the car for 3 to 4 hours.
Oof. That's a long time.
And they can't turn on the air conditioning because it will affect the sound. So they're like in a hot car for like 3 or 4 hours, and they don't know which songs he's going to turn on, and they don't rehearse. Like, they don't know what questions he's going to ask. So, One, I find it impressive that they all remember their own music.
Well, I feel like there are some times where they don't. There are some times where it's like you can tell that they like skip some songs or whatever, or skip some words.
But when people have like an actual good chemistry, I feel like that makes it a little more impressive because they're like fully have to be like in it. And like I like that Ed Sheeran at one point talked and said like, I was a bit nervous to come on here because I just didn't understand why this would be entertaining. Yeah. Like I thought that was like, it was very funny and like a very like funny moment of like self-reflection where he was like, me just talking in a car is not fun. Like what the heck?
Yeah. I will say on the topic of like driving the car around, before I quickly get to 2 other questions to wrap us up, that kind of took me out of the Michelle Obama one a little bit because they're so clearly just driving around in a circle and like like the White House circle driveway that it kind of like takes the magic away a little bit, just like a teeny little bit. It was something that I noticed and like took me out of the magic a little bit.
They could have done it feasibly where he joins the motorcade as opposed to her joining him, and they could have done it that way. And that would have been, I think, more
probably would have cost the taxpayers a little more, though.
I don't think so. Not really. People join for the motorcade all the time. It happens all the time. Like, it wouldn't be... You'd set up 2 cameras in there, and it wouldn't be that expensive. You get a background check on James
but then you're
Corden.
driving the whole motorcade around for 4 hours instead of just, like, driving one car around.
I am curious. I feel like her episode took less time. I have a feeling that hers took
I'm sure she did not do 3-4 hours, yeah. And they only do a few songs. Like it's a lot of interview versus like singing.
Yeah. Michelle Obama has never had a spare 3 or 4 hours in her life.
No.
So I do not buy that.
Well, maybe in her life, but probably not since they became president. Okay. Who would you have liked to see do a Carpool Karaoke that has never done an episode?
So I think an obvious answer is Taylor Swift. Like whether you're a fan or not, Taylor Swift's pretty huge.
Yeah, she seems like the most obvious answer.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I haven't actually checked to see if these people have done a Carpool Karaoke, but has Lizzo done one?
She has not to my knowledge.
I think that would be very fun.
Yeah.
Lizzo's cool as heck. Mm-hmm. And then like 2 that I don't think will probably ever happen, but I would just really like to see them in these scenarios, partly because I think they'd be kind of awkward, is Maggie Rogers, because she's very young and very interesting to me.
She only has one song that people know, though, so I feel like that wouldn't,
like
work
she's
for the vibe.
Very much like, I don't see it happening, but I think it would be very interesting because she's another person like Billie Eilish to me, where she's like young and just inherently cool. Like she just has it figured out somehow. And then the other one is Carly Rae Jepsen. I think that would be
Carly Rae would bang.
Absolutely.
How has that not happened?
Yeah.
When they
like
her and James Corden
songs,
have done stuff together before, I think. Like she's been on the show and they've done skits and things. Yeah. Oh, that'd
Carly
be so
Rae
good.
Jepsen is like one of the comeback careers that, like, her first song, what was that song that
Call
everybody...
Me Maybe.
Call Me Maybe.
Yes. And I was like, obviously, this is not
that?
anyone's favorite song ever. I know, that's crazy. But I was like, whatever. I like wrote her off as like, almost like, I think I put her in the same category as like Rebecca Black at some time.
Yikes.
Like it was a meme.
Yeah,
it was not going to
it just
sustain.
didn't mean anything to me. But her last 2 albums have been fire.
Absolutely great. Oh, so good, front to back. Yes, big Carly Rae fan.
So those are the ones I wish.
A whole list from Kelsey. What about you, Preston?
Yeah. I've got one that I think would be really cool, and that's T-Pain. T-Pain's one of those people that you don't really realize is surprisingly talented.
Extremely.
Like, wickedly talented.
He won The Masked Singer.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, season 1 of Masked Singer. I was like following it because T-Pain is from Tallahassee. And I remember The Ringer was like covering it. And this guy, Miles Surrey, he was very funny, like is one of their pop culture writers, was like recapping it. And I was like, well, I'll give this a watch. And he's amazing. He's absolutely incredible. Like I knew he was a really good singer because he has a tiny desk where he does not do autotune. And he's amazing.
And he
I
also
love
now
that
is he's streaming on Twitch and he's having the Twitch chat help him fill in like gaps in lyrics. Like it's kind of like a collaborative writing thing. It's really cool.
That's
to
super
just
cool.
go like watch for a couple minutes. And I'm glad you mentioned Tiny Desk, Dan, because that is the vibe. I think this is like the sequel to this episode that maybe comes out like a year from now or whatever is going to be us doing this with Tiny Desks instead of Carpool Karaoke.
I like that a lot.
Because I have also watched almost... It's like a religious watch for me to watch whatever one they come out with on that given week. So I've definitely watched the 16 most popular, that's for sure. And I think T-Pain's is probably in the top 5 most viewed. I think.
Oh, he's definitely one of the best ones for sure.
Yeah.
For me, it was Shakira. And like you guys both liked the J-Lo one more than I did. And like basically the only thing I could think of while watching the J-Lo one was I really wish this was Shakira instead. That was kind of like how I felt about it. So I think a Shakira one would be really, really fun. She just seems like someone that I don't know much about her at all. I know that like she has some certified bangers that I would love to hear her sing with James Corden. But I feel like it'd be cool to like get to know her personality a little bit too. And then I probably should ask that question last, but I wrote it first on my paper because it was actually a better question. But who didn't make the cut? Like who was not in the 16 most viewed that does have an episode that you wish were in the bracket?
I already said Stevie Wonder. I think he's got potentially one of my favorite ones just because he's one of my favorite musicians that has come and done it. I have a weirdly strange affinity for Iggy Azalea's. I know that's really strange. It's very out of left field for me, but like...
No, her Carpool Karaoke is much better than everything else Iggy Azalea has ever done.
It does not deserve to be as good as it is.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Those are the two, and then I think we talked about as a group. Sam Smith was the first one that got cut, and that's a huge bummer because I really like. It was
17, yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of my favorites. It was kind of like when I watched that, it was like a moment of you with Billie Eilish. I was like, oh my god, I think I'm a Sam Smith fan now. Like I just the way I don't think anybody in any Carpool Karaoke that I've seen has come across better than him in just being like a warm, kind, and I really don't think you could like put it on. Like he seemed so.
He's a sweetheart.
Oh my god, he seemed so sweet. And like I said to you guys off air, but like when Fifth Harmony comes out, I like that song, but I didn't like when they were a part of it. But like his reaction to that moment,
it's adorable.
And his like appreciation for like, I just thought, and like when James Corden says like, oh, like when I heard like. Because there's like a really cute moment where Sam Smith tells James Corden that he actually was one of the first like big people to like recognize him and like post a tweet about him basically. And James Corden is like, yeah, I heard that song and I like knew that this was like an amazing voice. And Sam Smith like tears up at it, and it's so nice.
It's better than that. And like I will never forget this line. He says, and I didn't even rewatch the Sam Smith one, because I feel like I remembered it well enough, and it was going to go against Adele, we thought, if it was going to make the cut. And I knew it wasn't going to beat Adele. But it says, when I heard your voice, I knew I was going to hear it for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Which is an amazing thing
Just
to say.
killed
Incredible.
me. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And, like, you can see the, like, appreciation from Sam Smith.
Yeah.
I just thought
it's really fucking cool. It's really, really cool. So that
really
is a
nice.
great moment.
The last thing I'll mention, and I'm cheating
Yeah.
a little bit here, because this
Okay.
doesn't really count, but Carpool Karaoke got turned into a series, like a
for
independent
like
series
Apple.
without James Corden. I've
not
never,
seen any
I
of
think for
those.
Apple TV. I've never watched it. But there is a 2-minute preview for the series that is Sophie Turner and Macy Williams, the two Stark sisters from Game of Thrones. That 2-minute preview is probably in my top 10 Carpool Karaoke. It's just because they seem so fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
And
They're
I
usually,
also
like actual best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
seem
god.
cool.
That looks so fun. So I have not actually like watched the series though, but I wanted to make sure we mentioned that because I feel like people were going to tweet at us and be like, "Hey, they turned it into a thing." No, we know.
Yeah.
Just not.
We
not
didn't
what we're
include
here
those.
for.
Don't count because James Corden isn't in them. I don't think. Right.
No, he's
Exactly.
not. He's
Yeah.
not.
For me, I really like Jennifer Hudson's a lot. And Jennifer Hudson is like not someone whose music I really listen to, but I've definitely rewatched her Carpool Karaoke a number of times. She is another one that's like unbelievable pipes.
Yeah.
There's also a really cool moment. This is pretty unrelated, but with her and Tom Jones singing, she's a judge on some British version of one of the like the what's the one with the X's, the one that Gwen
Voice.
Stefani, The Voice,
X Factor. Yeah.
one of those. She's like a judge on one of those, and she and Tom Jones have a sing off, and it's on YouTube, and it's absolutely 100% must watch. It's incredible. They're like both riffing and singing each other. It's just like it's one of those things like. You're not even jealous of their musical talent. Like, you're just glad that you're able to witness it.
You're like in awe.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Lauren and I
incredible.
have decided that she is the greatest voice currently alive.
I
don't
think
know
that's
how
probably
you
true.
would pick somebody else.
She's unbelievable. She's absolutely unbelievable talent.
Yeah.
And, like, she doesn't really make the kind of music that I would listen to, ordinarily. But, yeah, I mean, her voice is unbelievable. Well, that wraps us up, folks. That was the first March Madness bracket. And just to go back, Paul McCartney is officially the best Carpool Karaoke episode ever. Doesn't matter if you disagree. But of course, let us know if you
16
do
seed, right?
on Twitter. Yeah, the 16 seed, the lowest
Wow.
seed.
Such a Cinderella story.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's honestly, it makes a mockery of like the viewer numbers on,
bullshit.
It's
on
true.
the Carpool Karaoke. But it made for easy, making an easy bracket, objective tiering, which made it easy. But that was a lot of fun. Kelsey, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it.
It was an absolute pleasure.
We will be back next week with another one of these. We will be doing a bracket with Katie Reynolds of the best Disney soundtrack. So that's a fun one. And we'll have a bracket for each remaining Tuesday through March. Kelsey's very upset that we didn't bring her on for that episode. We had to bring Katie Reynolds on for that one. I'm sorry.
I just feel like I'm getting a sense of a trend here where the really strange drafts are the ones I'm brought in for.
Yes.
So maybe in the next season, if I could see all of your ideas
the ones
and then
that
pick.
we can't get anyone else to agree to, we bring Kelsey
Yeah.
on for.
I don't know why you
Let's
thought
just
that
bring
was
a
a
Canadian
secret that you had to
this was
uncover.
this was a good one, right?
That's it.
This was a good draft. This is a good bracket.
This was good. It just required like an extensive amount of research. Because they said, "Hey, do you watch Carpool Karaoke?" And I said, "No."
Hey, listen. If you could have watched one like every 3 days if you just started when I actually gave you the heads up. We're going
I
to be
am a
doing this.
procrastinator at heart.
That's okay. I think all of us are really. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, y'all. We will be back after this March Madness run with normal episodes. But hopefully you enjoy these brackets as well. If not, sorry, we'll be back in a few weeks with normal scheduled programming. But thanks so much. Remember, you can find us on Twitter at DraftedPod, on Facebook, facebook.com/DraftedPod. You can email the show at draftedpod@gmail.com. And go ahead and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv /DAP_sauce. Preston and I will be doing a lot of hangout over there. Maybe even have a special hangout in the future, playing some like Jackbox games with all of our past drafted guests. So a lot to look forward to over there content-wise. But yeah, we'll talk to you again next week. Bye.
Yes, he did. To buy from other men. Oh.